Good morning. The most important responsibility of government is to keep our people safe while protecting your constitutional rights and treating everyone fairly. As your mayor, I have to uphold that responsibility, and I have. In upholding that promise, today I'm announcing that we have signed a historic consent decree agreement with the United States Department of Justice. This historic agreement will build upon and accelerate the transformational police reform that we have already begun here in Louisville. This agreement meets the three conditions I insisted upon from the beginning of our negotiations with the Department of Justice. First, the agreement had to build upon the significant police reforms we began when I took office 2 years ago. Second, the agreement could not handcuff our police as they work to prevent crime in our city. And third, the agreement had to be financially responsible and set clear terms for how and when it would end. The consent decree agreement will ensure our officers are committed to protecting the constitutional rights of residents while improving public safety and preventing violent crime for our entire community. Unlike some other cities, we didn't wait to take action until a consent decree was signed. Significant improvements were needed immediately and have been implemented by LMPD over the last 2 years. And under Chief Humphrey's leadership, positive changes continue to happen every day. LMPD has rewritten its policies, revised its procedures, and reorganized its departments. Officers are getting better and more training, and more and better care when they need it. We are collecting the data we need to make good decisions and measure whether we are meeting our goals. We instituted a new focus on de-escalation and significantly expanded our deflection program to ensure more effective interventions for people in crisis. As a result, we are already well on our way to implementing many of the agreements in the consent decree. The Department of Justice saw the action we've already taken and our commitment to aggressively implement police reform. As a result of these improvements and our commitment to action, the people standing on this stage, to me, many others in this room and throughout our city, have crafted a new form of consent decree, unlike any other city in America. This is a unique agreement that focuses on accountability and rapid improvements without ballooning costs that could compromise other investments that our city so desperately needs. As I have said throughout this entire process, clear performance measures must be included in the agreement, and a clear path and timeline to exit the agreement also had to be included. This agreement includes both of those essential elements. Under this decree, there will be no moving the goalposts. Our officers will have clear guidance and clear benchmarks. This agreement focuses on good police work, not on more paperwork. This agreement sets us up for real and lasting improvements. And very importantly, it also goes hand in hand with our work for reducing violent crime in our city. This agreement is also financially responsible for our city. It provides us with the ability to continue investing in improving LMPD, improving other first responder agencies, and strengthening our violence prevention work in all of its forms. Importantly, this agreement caps the amount our city will spend on an out-of-state monitor. I am a person who acts with a sense of urgency. This agreement reflects this commitment to action and sets us up on a path to keep making rapid improvements and be in full compliance in 5 years or less, half the time that other cities have taken. To the men and women of LMPD, thank you for protecting us every day. Our city appreciates you, and so do I. I know you all are committed to public service for the right reasons and want to do your job the right way. There will no longer be any confusion about our goals and our strategy, as this will continue our new direction with a focus on our community's safety. Every resident in every corner of our city deserves to be safe and feel safe. Under this agreement, and under my and Chief Humphrey's continued leadership, that will continue to happen with proactive community policing that our city seeks. To those in our community who demanded change, thank you for speaking up and staying the course on that long road that led to these reforms. Your willingness to demand meaningful and lasting change helped bring us to this moment. And to our entire negotiating team, thank you for your tireless work. More than 65 meetings, plus countless phone calls and countless reviews of documents. Thank you for ignoring the noise and taking the time to get this 242-page agreement right for our city, our people, and our future. I'd like to particularly thank the leaders of our negotiating team, Chief Humphrey and Deputy Chief Emily McKinley from LMPD, our lead attorney on this matter, my Deputy General Counsel, Megan Metcalf, along with my General Counsel and Chief of Staff, David Kaplan. We are also very grateful to the excellent legal work that we received from Jefferson County Attorney Mike O'Connell and his team. Thank you all. To everyone in our great city, I make this call to action. Let's now join together. Be a part of the change. Be a part of the solution. We need 200 more officers on LMPD, and there are opportunities from people from all parts of our city, from all backgrounds, with many different experiences. Join the LMPD team. We also need friends and families to say something when they see something suspicious. If you have witnessed a crime, help our police secure our streets and provide answers for victims' families. Call LMPD and let them anonymously know what you know. Community policing is about partnerships with the people of Louisville, and there are so many ways to help, many ways to be a part of the solution. I urge all of us to come together to make our city safer, stronger, healthier, and more united. And finally, thank you to United States Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Kristen Clark, and her colleagues at the United States Department of Justice. We appreciate you all working with us to craft a consent decree that acknowledges the improvements our city has already made, that focuses on sustained improvements we all agree on, and provides clarity and goals and a timeline to exit this agreement. We look forward to continuing working with the Department of Justice in the years ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the United States Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Kristen Clark.
Good morning. I'm pleased to stand here today with Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg and Louisville Metro Police Department Chief Paul Humphrey. As the mayor shared, today is historic. The Department of Justice and Louisville Metro government have agreed to a court-enforceable consent decree that addresses the United States findings that the Metro government and police department engage in a pattern or practice of conduct that violates the Constitution and federal law. We found that police used excessive force, unlawfully executed search warrants without knocking and announcing, carried out unlawful stops, searches, and arrests, engaged in discriminatory policing with respect to low-level traffic stops and other offenses, violated the rights of people engaged in protected speech during demonstrations critical of policing, and treated people with behavioral health disabilities unlawfully. This conduct harmed community members and undermined public trust in law enforcement that is essential for public safety. This consent decree marks a new day for Louisville. Our standing together today makes clear that Louisville and the United States share the goals of promoting public safety, ensuring constitutional policing, and strengthening trust between community and law enforcement. This consent decree outlines specific reforms and measurable standards that will help achieve these goals. Implementing these reforms will ensure constitutional policing, promote public safety, and safeguard people's civil rights. I want to take a moment to outline specific provisions of the consent decree. Under the decree, the police department will revise its use of force policies and training. New policies will ensure that officers employ de-escalation strategies, limit dangerous tactics, and refrain from using force to punish or retaliate against people. The department will improve its residential search warrant practices. This includes safeguards on the use of confidential informants, thorough review of search warrant applications, and safe and lawful tactics during warrant executions. The department will ensure that its stops, searches, and arrests are constitutional and that its enforcement practices do not discriminate based on race. The department will develop alternatives to arrests and citations for minor issues like broken taillights. The department will strengthen its responses to and investigations of sexual assault and domestic violence, including investigations into alleged officer sexual misconduct. The Metro government and police department will improve their response to public demonstrations and protests that are critical of policing. The Metro government and police department will improve training, supervision, and accountability systems for officers. They will ensure fair and objective investigations of alleged misconduct and continue to support civilian oversight in Louisville. Significantly, Louisville Metro will provide non-police responses to situations involving behavioral health crises or unhoused people in situations that don't require a law enforcement response. In addition, provisions of the decree require strengthening efforts to promote officer wellness, reflecting a recognition of the real strain and stress that many officers face on the job. I want to take a moment to speak about the process and outline our next steps. Today, the department filed a complaint in federal court that outlines the violations of law. And jointly with the city, we have filed a consent decree with the court to address those violations of law. We're asking the court to make the proposed consent decree an order of the court. The city and the Justice Department will then jointly recommend a monitor to the court who will serve as a neutral third party evaluating the city and police department's compliance with the decree. We're committed to moving earnestly and swiftly down the path of reform set forth in this decree. The Justice Department will move to terminate provisions of the decree as compliance is achieved and sustained, and will work ambitiously with the city to achieve compliance in the road ahead. The community has played and will continue to play a central role in the implementation of the consent decree. We have every confidence that Louisville can and will satisfy the requirements of the decree. As Mayor Greenberg has shared, the city has not been standing by idly and has already undertaken significant reforms. The city banned no-knock search warrants, piloted a program to send behavioral health professionals to some 911 calls, expanded its community-based violence prevention services, and enhanced support for officers' health and wellness. At the end of the process, we expect that the Louisville Police Department will be a model police department and a shining example of constitutional policing. Across the country, our consent decrees have a demonstrable track record of reform achieved alongside decreasing misconduct by police and decreasing rates of crime. In cities like Seattle, New Orleans, Baltimore, and Albuquerque, we've seen sharp declines in unreasonable use of force, declines in unlawful stops and searches, declines in harmful interactions with people experiencing behavioral health crises, and at the same time, we've seen crime decreases in these cities. At the end of the day, the people of Louisville deserve constitutional and effective policing and nothing less. Police officers and Metro government employees deserve clear policies, high-quality training, and the support necessary to do their jobs safely, securely, and lawfully. 4 years ago, after 26-year-old Breonna Taylor was shot and killed by Louisville police officers in her own home in the middle of the night, Louisville, like many cities across the country, experienced protests and civil unrest. Thousands of people marched and gathered downtown for months here in the city. They called for racial justice and accountability. They returned day after day to Jefferson Square Park, which they called Injustice Square, or Breeway. Shortly after Ms. Taylor's tragic death, the Justice Department opened a comprehensive civil investigation into the Metro government and police department focusing on systemic issues. I'm proud today to stand shoulder to shoulder with Mayor Greenberg, Chief Humphrey, and their team. Together, we have agreed upon a consent decree that outlines reforms and the pathway to constitutional policing. No doubt this consent decree includes the strong medicine necessary to cure violations of law and to help promote healing in this community. Let me say, officers have demanding and dangerous jobs. We all know that most officers act honorably under challenging circumstances and at great personal risk. Now we will have an enforceable court order that provides the guidance and tools to truly strengthen their work and efforts to promote public safety. People in Louisville have long advocated for constitutional policing. Their voices, input, and investment in this process will be essential in implementing reform. I want to encourage the public to be vigilant and to lean into this process. Police reform doesn't happen overnight. This process will take time, but it will reap dividends down the line. We call on residents to attend public meetings and hearings, join advisory committees, and comment on draft policies and training. And just as they have for decades, residents can and should push for changes beyond the consent decree process. Federal law is a floor, not a ceiling on what is possible. I want to close again by thanking the mayor and the chief for their leadership and recognize the dedicated career attorneys and professionals at the Justice Department. I want to thank them for their work. They are and always have been the true backbone of the Justice Department. At this time, I'll turn the floor over to Chief Humphrey.
Right now, somewhere in Louisville, a police officer's getting out of a police car and walking up to a door that he doesn't know what's on the other side of it so that he can help solve problems for somebody in this community. There's a fugitive unit detective that's sitting in their car doing surveillance for hours, looking for a shooting suspect that needs to be taken off the street. There's an analyst sitting in the real-time crime center pouring through hours and hours of videos trying to find that one clip that's going to solve a robbery case. This is the type of work that goes on in Louisville every day. It's the type of work that's going to continue to go on in Louisville every day. It's exactly what we need. You've heard us talk about the importance of a plan. That's what this is. This is a plan. It creates a framework that we will build from. Fundamentally, we will remain focused on 4 things. Community safety is always our core mission. Community safety is more than just public safety. It requires all of us working together at the heart of everything that we do. We will continue to fight violent crime the right way and work collaboratively with the community to make Louisville a safer place to live, work, and visit. We are dedicated to transparency and accountability. We are committed to operating in a way that is open, fair, and equitable. We will set high expectations, and we will hold ourselves to those standards. We're going to enhance our policy and our training. Policy that is revised will set clear, consistent guidelines for officers. Officers receive the specialized training in critical areas so they have the requisite mindset, knowledge, and skills to perform to the best of their abilities. And we will continue to support our officers and our professional staff. We are committed to improving staffing, modernizing facilities, updating equipment, and continuing the growth of our wellness programs to ensure that every member of LMPD is supported and prepared in doing their challenging work. This decree looks significantly different from decrees of the past. That is because of the work that has been done over the past several years here in Louisville and in LMPD. I believe that having an independent monitor gives us an opportunity to have the excellence of our work confirmed for the community. But this has to be more than just words on a page. It is a promise to our officers and our professional staff that we are going to lead them and support them the right way without fail. It is a promise to our community that we are responsive to their needs, and we will remain committed to creating an agency that values self-improvement. This decree will not create change on its own. It requires people. The dedicated men and women of LMPD are the driving force behind progress. With hard work, combined with strong leadership and community collaboration, we will succeed. Public safety is an equity issue. Everyone deserves to feel safe and supported and protected by their police department. Today, we are taking more steps towards ensuring that that vision becomes reality. While we have this agreement as a guiding document, this is our city. This is our department. The Department of Justice is not making decisions for the city of Louisville or LMPD. We are. The men and women that you see over there on the command staff, myself, and Mayor Greenberg are making decisions for this city. To our community, thank you for your partnership as we move forward, and thank you for your patience throughout this process. To our officers and professional staff of LMPD, thank you for your dedication, professionalism, and courage that you show every single day. We are going to put in the work that is required to keep people safe and do it in a way that builds community trust and confidence in LMPD. Together, we will build a safer, stronger Louisville.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Ms. Clark. Before we take questions, a few more things. First, a few more thanks. I wanted to thank some other of the hardworking men and women of the Jefferson County Attorney's Office who provided excellent legal support and advice to us during this process. Anna Lee Taylor, Lisa Jarrett, Andrew Miller, Sarah Martin, and Jeff Derwin, thank you all. I also want to outline a few of the next steps, as Ms. Clark has already begun to do, as she already did in her comments. Today, we'll be posting an RFP for those interested in serving as the independent monitor that will ensure we are meeting our benchmarks. This will be a public selection process. We'll vet those applicants with the Department of Justice, and the community will be able to meet the finalists before a final decision is made. In addition, the Chief and many others will attend community meetings in the coming months and years to hear about the progress. A dashboard will be available to the public to monitor that progress, and the Chief will provide updates on our progress at his regular press briefings. We have now reached the end of a long and important process to draft a consent decree agreement that will ensure an aggressive timeline to make meaningful reforms for our police department while supporting our officers and making sure they can continue to prioritize public safety. By not rushing these negotiations and by sticking to our key requirements, we crafted an agreement that is a testament to our commitment to having a police department that's committed to doing things the right way, a department that's open, that's honest, that's transparent, a police department that's committed to public safety and protecting the civil rights of the people that we all serve. Our negotiations are now complete. Our work is not. With all of us working together, we'll reach our goal of making LMPD the best police department in America. With all of us working together, we'll continue to move Louisville in a new direction.